7 bone-chilling camping tales of cryptids that haunt you at midnight forever. Picture this. Freezing cold nights, the sky painted with a million stars, and around a flickering campfire. The air is thick with stories that make your skin crawl. That's what camping in the dark woods is all about. But not all tales are just myths. Some wake up the very moment the sun sets, following you, watching you. Cryptids, those mysterious creatures that slink through the shadows, aren't just campfire tales. They are the stuff of nightmares, lurking behind every tree, every whisper of the wind, just waiting for the moment when it gets dark enough for fear to take hold. There's the legendary chupacabra, of course, with its ghostly eyes glowing red in the moonlight. A monster that drains the souls of livestock and sends families fleeing into the night. Would you dare sleep under the stars if you knew it was nearby? Then there's the mokelmbembe, said to prowl the jungles of Africa, resembling a brontosaurus with skin like leathery scales, ready to drag unsuspecting campers into the depths of the swamp. The mere thought of its massive shadow slipping through the trees has the hairs on the back of your neck standing on end, and don't even get me started on the Wendigo. A creature born from starvation and despair, its breath fogs the air like death whispering in your ear. The tales say it can mimic human voices, echoing the laughter of lost loved ones, luring its prey closer with promises of warmth and safety. Can you imagine being out there, in the pitch black, hearing someone call your name, but knowing deep down that no one else is supposed to be out there? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Now, where was I? Oh yes, the night grows deeper, and the trees seem to close in on you. Shadows flicker, and those stories twist into your thoughts like the creeping fog that wraps around the campsite. Suddenly, you hear the snapping of a twig. Tension spikes as you freeze, your heart pounding in your chest like a drum against the silence. What do? Do you dare move, or do you let the darkness swallow you whole? Because in the realm of cryptids, even the bravest often find themselves overrun by terror. What lurks in the shadowy depths of the forest? The answer may just haunt you forever. The crackling fire cast a warm glow, a meager defense against the impending darkness. You sat motionless, eyes darting from the trees to the flickering flames, trying to shake off the feeling that you weren't alone. The snapping twig echoed in your mind, a loud and cruel reminder that not all sounds are innocent acts of nature. Then, more noises, a low growl, barely audible, like the rumble of distant thunder. It tugged at the edges of your mind, urging you to believe it was just the wind, but instinct told you otherwise. The laughter of your friends faded away, replaced by the realization that something was watching. It lingered at the edge of your vision, a dark figure flitting between the trunks of the towering pines. Did you hear that? Someone whispered, the words hoarse with unease. The group huddled closer, eyes wide, breaths uneven. It's probably just a deer, another person suggested, but their voice lacked conviction, betraying the fear creeping into their chest. What if it wasn't just a deer? What if it was something else entirely? The chilling tales of the chupacabra and the wendigo settled like lead in your stomach. You'd thought such things were figments of overactive imaginations, stories meant to scare children into behaving. Yet, here you were, caged by a sense of absolute dread. As the fire sputtered, flinging a shower of sparks into the air, a shadow passed fast, silent. You squinted into the blackness, breaths coming in sharp gasps, trying to discern what lurked in the shadows. Eyes, red as embers, suddenly caught the light. They glowed from the underbrush, reflecting an intelligence that petrified you. This wasn't a mere animal. This was something from the other side of fear, straight from the heart of every story told around the fire. Guys, we need to leave, you whispered, anxiety twisting your stomach into knots. Your voice trembled, barely a suggestion as the sense of urgency filled the air. The others hesitated, sharing glances filled with doubt. Don't be silly, someone shrugged off your caution. It's probably nothing. But you knew better. You felt it in every shiver that ran down your spine. Just then, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, extinguishing the campfire's flickering light. Panic ignited as darkness enveloped you, an inky cloak that devoured everything. The sound of your friends' shifting, stifled gasps, and hurried whispers was all you could hear. In the pitch black, terror curved the corners of your mind, making everything seem sharper, more pronounced. A second growl echoed. This one was louder, more guttural. And then there was movement. The shadow grew, shifting near the periphery, getting closer with every heartbeat. Run! The word burst forth from your lips, a primal scream in the dark. You didn't wait to see if they followed. You dashed into the trees, branches snagging at your clothes like fingers pulling you back. The forest roared to life, a cacophony of rustling leaves and snapping twigs. Your breath came in ragged gasps, and every heartbeat pounded in your ears. But there was something else, a sense of being pursued, a relentless presence just behind you. Suddenly, the ground beneath your feet gave way, and you stumbled, grasping at dirt to steady yourself. Darkness loomed around you. You could feel something looming closer. And then, with a sudden clarity, you heard it. A voice, a soft, familiar sound echoing from the depths of the woods. It called your name, but it was wrong. The tone was slithery, coated in malice, conjuring images better left unimagined. You knew you had to find your friends, but doubt gripped you. What if they had succumbed to the cryptid's lure? Panic clawed at your insides when you felt a heavy presence solidify behind you. The shadows shifted, and two glowing red eyes pierced through the darkness, locking onto you. What do you do next? Do you confront the nightmare, or do you try to flee deeper into the woods, risking everything? The very air seemed to thicken with dread as you realized that the line between safety and horror was razor thin. An escape was possible, but what does survival mean in the face of true darkness? You stumbled away from those piercing red eyes, heart racing like a trapped animal. The voice, that sinister echo of your name, didn't leave your mind. You forced yourself to hold it together, to focus. Running deeper into the woods felt like a gamble, a game of chance where every turn could lead to safety or your demise. Branches clawed at your arms and legs, tearing into your skin. You barely felt the pain. All that mattered was the sound of your breath, ragged and frantic against the stillness that surrounded you. Yet the growl still lingered, a low growl that turned your stomach to ice, promising that whatever hunted you was on your heels. Where are they? You whispered to the darkness, praying for some sign of your friends, some glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. The rustle ahead stopped you in your tracks. Was it them? Or more of this nightmare? You crouched low, heart pounding loud enough to drown out the forest whispers around you. The stillness broke the moment a shadow darted from behind a tree. Instinct propelled you to flee, but something held you back, a shiver of recognition. The figures emerging from the gloom were blurred and indistinct, but unmistakable. Your friends. Relief surged through you until it was cut by uneasy confusion. They looked different. Their eyes reflected the same fervent glow that had scared you earlier, the same deep-seated fear twisting their faces in unfamiliar ways. Where were you? You gasped. We need to go now. There is something out here. Something wrong. Silence met your words. Instead of concern, you saw confusion in their expressions. Then, almost in unison, they stepped closer, their movements unnaturally synchronized, as if guided by a shared will. It made your skin crawl. We thought it would be fun to find you, one of them said, voice dripping with sweetness that didn't belong. You left the fire so quickly, it was a voice you knew, the same voice that welcomed laughter under the stars, one you'd shared countless memories with. But that warmth felt like ice now, a false front masking something far more sinister. A chill crept down your spine. You backed away, instincts screaming for you to run. You don't understand, it's not safe. We have to. Before you could finish, the air thickened, that soft call, the fatal lure, wrapped around you like a web. Their faces twisted, and you felt it, the tension rising, a dissonance that screamed in your ears. This wasn't them. You turned again, this time aiming to break through the shadows. Off to the left, you noticed something gleam in the darkness, a path, perhaps, a way to escape. You hurtled toward it with all the strength you could muster. Behind you, laughter rose, high and wrong. Come back, they called. We just want to play. Fueled by raw survival instincts, You sprinted toward the faintest hint of moonlight breaking through the trees. The feeling of being hunted propelled you forward. The laughter faded, but the growl remained a constant remnant of the horror chasing you. As the trees began to thin, your heart hammered in your chest, matching the rhythm of the desperate escape. But the sounds from behind grew louder, closer. You burst onto a clearing drenched in moonlight. Your breath caught as you turned to face the darkness you'd barely escaped. The figure you had run from was there now, looming. The growling was ferocious, resonating through your bones. It wasn't he alone. More shadows stretched behind it, as if they were pouring from the trees. This was your moment, a choice hanging over you like a guillotine. Do you stand your ground against this tangible nightmare? Or do you run again, deeper into the woods, into the shadows that beckon with false promises? The blood-soaked night had only just begun to reveal its secrets. What would the forest reveal next? Your instincts kicked in like a cold rush of adrenaline. You turned away from the growling shadow, diving back into the woods, heart hammering so hard it felt like it might explode. You pushed past the undergrowth, branches whipping against your skin, but you didn't care. Pain faded when survival took over. The shadows behind you moved like liquid, quick and almost graceful. You could feel their breath against your nape, hot and putrid. Every instinct urged you to keep running, but the darkness closed in, wrapping tighter, thicker. You ducked and weaved, praying to break their line of sight, praying they wouldn't feel the pulse of your fear. That a snap of a twig echoed nearby, sharper than any scream. Was it them again? You glanced over your shoulder, heart sinking at the sight of those glowing eyes fanning out like a web. They were everywhere, stalking you through the trees. The laughter echoed again, that horrible, unnatural sound that twisted your stomach. The woods were alive, pulsating with energy that felt like a taunt. No, you choked, pushing yourself harder, deeper into the shadows. The trees became a blur, but the laughter and growls grew louder, as if they were feeding off your panic. The moon crookedly illuminated a massive old oak ahead, gnarled and twisted. It looked ancient, with roots snaking across the ground like twisted fingers. You sprinted towards it, hoping to find some refuge. You darted behind the trunk, pressing your back against the rough bark, trying to catch your breath. Your mind raced. You needed a plan. You thought of your friends, how they'd been overtaken, their faces twisted into those mirthless grins. Something was wrong with them, a darkness that crawled beneath their skin. The thought made your insides churn. Were they lost forever? Were you next? That's when you felt it, a slight vibration in the earth beneath your feet, a rhythm that pulsed like a heartbeat. It beckoned to you, deeper into the woods. It reminded you of voices, whispering of secrets and hidden paths. You shook your head, trying to dispel the tide of thoughts. There was no way that could be true. You had to stay focused, but the call was so alluring, curling around your mind like cotton candy. The growls grew quiet for a moment. Taking a deep breath, you glanced around the oak, scanning the moonlit ground. That vibration was louder now, almost hypnotic. You took a step out, heart moving between hope and fear. What if there was something there? Something to get you away from this nightmare? But what if it was leading you straight into a trap? Is anyone there? You whispered into the darkness, voice trembling. Silence responded, thick and suffocating. Every instinct told you to retreat back to the safety of the oak. Just as you were about to turn back, a sudden flash of movement caught your eye. Something darted just beyond the trees, a flicker of fur, quick and serpentine. Your heart skipped. Was that real? Or was the forest playing tricks on your mind? A low growl erupted from behind you, snapping you back to the moment. Instinctively, you spun, pressing your back harder against the oak as if it could shield you. Whatever was out there was no longer stealthy. It was coming. The laughter erupted again, this time mixed with something low and guttural, reverberating through the darkness. The shadows swarmed closer, coiling around the base of the trees. You had to make a choice. Ahead lay that flickering shadow, a potential escape. Could it be a way out? Or were you jumping straight into a predatory trap? You took a step forward, the call of something far more terrifying than you had ever imagined weighing heavy in your gut. But the growls behind you transformed, an unsettling harmony weaving through the trees. Go, they whispered in unison. You took a breath, ready to leap into the uncertain. One desperate thought clawed at your mind. Would you defy the shadows, or succumb to their darkness. The forest held its breath as you moved. What would fate deliver next? You stepped forward, heart pounding like a drum as you navigated through the thick shadows. A part of you wanted to run back to the oak, but the hypnotic whisper of the forest was impossible to ignore. With each subtle step, the vibrations in the ground resonated deeper, a call that twisted your very senses. The woods shifted around you. The tree branches whispered secrets above, and the shadows seemed to dance just beyond your grasp. You felt each pulse as if the heart of the forest thumped beneath your feet. There was something alive here, something ancient that watched and waited. The laughter echoed again, distant but closer than before, a chilling reminder of your pursuers. You crept forward, tension pulling tight in your chest as you peered into the underbrush. There, a flicker of movement. Almost instinctually, you thought about your friends, those pale faces twisted in horror. Would they too hear the forest's siren call? As you moved cautiously towards the motion, the air thickened. It was not just fear that weighed down your spirit. It was the anticipation of what lay ahead. It felt like stepping into a dream or perhaps a nightmare. You could still flee back into the hollow of the oak, but every instinct shouted to go forward, to follow the flickering shadow. Suddenly, the laughter morphed into a scream, a terrible sound that sliced through the night. Your feet halted, rooted to the ground in dread. It was no ordinary scream. It seared your soul, beckoning you to understand what horrors were behind you. You could feel the shadows closing in, their breath brushing against your neck, taunting you. Don't look back, you told yourself, twisting to catch another glimpse of the flicker. It was here, just at the edge of your vision, a creature, slim and sinewy, creeping among the fallen leaves. You narrowed your gaze, steeling your mind against what lay ahead. Just as you took a cautious step forward, the laughter erupted again, echoing through the trees, bouncing off the bark like a cruel joke. And then it happened. The ground beneath your feet suddenly shifted. It rippled, not like the gentle sway of wind, but like a creature stirring awake. The shadows seized the moment, writhing forward, their forms coalescing into something more solid. Fear gripped you like a vice. Your legs screamed at you to run, but the mesmerizing flicker of movement held you spellbound. The creature emerged, illuminated by a ring of moonlight, its eyes gleaming with an unsettling intelligence. Why did you come here? It whispered, voice smooth and sinister, curling around your heart. Every nerve screamed at you to flee, yet you wanted answers. This forest held your friends captive, transformed into something twisted and dark. Would they still be human beneath the surface? You squared your shoulders, forcing words out, trembling but determined. I'm looking for them. What have you done? The creature smiled, a grotesque twist of shadows and fangs. Found them. You will, but things here are never as they seem. The vibrations intensified, a chaotic harmony pulsing through you. The shadows danced like flames, and the laughter transformed into soft, mocking whispers that wrapped around your mind. You felt yourself teetering on the edge of comprehension as tendrils of darkness stretched closer, misting your vision. Panic rose and clawed at your insides. What was this place? What did it want from you? With the shadows swelling around you, a desperate thought surfaced. You had tried to save your friends, but what if the only way out was to embrace what lay within the darkness itself? As your pulse raced, another flicker caught your eye, deeper in the shadows. Could it be your friends? Or was it a final trick of the woods? The choice hung heavy in the air, engulfing you. Was it worth the leap into the dark to find out what you risked everything for? You steadied your breath, ready to plunge into the unknown, as the shadows danced in eerie anticipation, waiting for you to decide. You took a deep breath, the cool air stinging your lungs. The forest felt alive, breathing around you, pulsating with an energy that both terrified and thrilled. The flickering shadow swayed just beyond your reach, and curiosity overpowered your fear. With a sudden surge of resolve, you stepped forward, ready to confront whatever lay within the darkness. Each footfall muted the crackling leaves beneath you. The creature's eyes, sharp and intelligent, locked onto yours. Was it a guardian of the forest or a harbinger of doom? You felt an unsettling pull, utterly captivated, yet shivering at the thought of what was hidden. Come closer, it murmured, as if beckoning you into secrets buried deep, shadows stretching and curling at your ankles like deceitful hands. Kai, Can you hear me? The voice echoed somewhere within the tangled branches. Your heart leaped, Lila. Without thinking, you bolted toward the sound, but the creature blocked your path, its smile widening into a grimace. They are here. Yes, but are you prepared to face what they have become? Every instinct screamed at you to turn back, retreat to the safety of the oak tree. But your friend's call shook you frantic, desperate. If this creature had your friends, you had to know what they were. What had happened inside this wicked maze? Would they recognize you? The shadows morphed around the creature, swirling like a storm. It held its ground, a smirk plastered on its twisted face. The transformation is complete, it sang with a voice layered in triumph and malice. But not everything is lost. Your thoughts raced a kaleidoscope of fear, love, and longing battling for control. Your friends were near, and every fiber of your being pulled you toward them, toward the flicker that had become a beacon in this dismal landscape. Show me, you shouted, your voice stronger than you felt. The words felt like a challenge, igniting a fierce determination. With a slow, deliberate movement, the creature stepped aside, revealing a narrow passage cloaked in shadows. Through the veil of terror you must walk. But be warned, the truth may devour you. You hesitated for a heartbeat, scanning the darkness ahead. It beckoned like a siren, seductive and frightening. Your breathing quickened as you thought of Lila's voice and what awaited you beyond. What awaited you beyond? You would confront the monstrous truth, confront the darkness that had seeped into your friends' souls, perhaps even yours. Stepping into the unknown was a gamble, a leap of faith into the uncertainty that lurked just out of sight. You began to move, the oppressive air wrapping around you like a shroud. The whispers grew louder, swirling around you, a cacophony of warning, laughter, and despair. You had stepped off the edge and now plunged into a reality that was both thrilling and terrifying. Suddenly, a howl ripped through the trees, echoing off the trunks like a wounded beast. You froze. It was close, too close. Panic clawed at your insides as hardwood branches rattled, and the shadows shifted menacingly. Now you were not alone. Fear twisted in your chest as sharp eyes glimmered from the depths of the shadows, closing in, their hunger palpable. Don't you see? The creature said, hovering near you like a specter. You had a choice: stay or dive deeper. But once you're here, there's no going back. You clenched your fists, knowing the only way forward was gripped by a bone-deep anxiety and the plaintive cries of your friends. Then you heard it, more than mere cries. You heard a voice that resonated through the haunting landscape. Can I help you? Could you save them? Or was it already too late? As the growls from the shadows crescendoed, you pressed deeper into the ominous passage, your heart pounding in time with the encroaching dread. What had the woods turned your friends into? And what havoc would you unleash upon yourself in your desperate search for the truth? With each step, clarity faded and darkness tightened its grip. The line between hope and despair blurred, leaving you to wonder, would you emerge with your friends or become another lost soul in this haunting forest? The shadows thickened around you as you pressed through the narrow passage, instincts screaming for you to turn back. Each heartbeat thundered in your ears, a relentless reminder of your vulnerability. You fought against the urge to retreat, each step weighted with uncertainty. Lila's voice strained through the veil of darkness, wavering like a candle's flame. The way she called your name cut through the despair, anchoring you amidst the swirling doubts. But how much of her remained? A flicker of movement caught your eye, a brief flash of white among the dark silhouettes. Was it Lila? The urge to chase after it ignited your legs, your body almost reacting without conscious thought. Help us! Another voice cried, this one deeper and more distorted. It sent chills down your spine as it echoed through the trees. It felt wrong, almost foreign, like a mockery of your friends' voices. Suddenly, a rush of wind swept through, carrying a metallic scent that made your stomach churn. The shadows grew denser, pulling at you like molasses, slowing each heartbeat further. You stumbled, about to fall, but catching yourself on the damp ground. Your breath hitched, fear clawed at you. You forced yourself to focus, to keep moving. Images flickered in your mind: Lila's laughter, their plans for the camping trip, the warmth of friendship illuminating the gloom. But now, all that warmth felt like a cruel jest, mocking your fading memories. Kai, the voice broke again, raw and desperate. Please, You took a deep swallow, tightening your grip on the flashlight. Light would be your guide or your downfall. Pressing on, you cut through the shadows, determined despite the fear knotted in your gut. The path twisted deeper into the forest, and soon you found yourself in a small clearing. The cold moonlight spilled through the gnarled treetops, illuminating a chilling sight. In the center stood silhouettes, figures hunched and contorted. They were shifting, their forms barely human. "Lila," you shouted, heart pounding as terror threaded through your voice. The figures paused, freezing at the sound of your voice. One turned slowly, its face shrouded in darkness, but unmistakably familiar. Kai, it was her, but her eyes glimmered unnaturally, hollow and chilling as shadows coiled around her like serpents. "What happened to you?" You gasped, stepping back, a wave of dread crashing over you. The creature's maw opened slightly, were those teeth glinting in the moonlight. "Join us," it spoke, but the voice was layered with something foreign, an echo of something that once was. "It's beautiful here." "Beautiful?" The word slipped out, almost a whisper. The shadows behind her undulated, revealing glimpses of the other's friends twisted into monstrous parodies. They reached out, grasping at the air, eyes wide with desperation. "Help us," they cried, voices overlapping, chaotic. This wasn't he, right? This wasn't he, the reunion you sought. A howl ripped through the clearing, primal and feral, sending a jolt of adrenaline through you. The creature that had been guiding you laughed, a sound like rusted hinges screeching. "Welcome to the reality of your friends," it taunted, voice dripping with malevolence. "Do you really think you can save them? Or will you choose to join their fate?" Panic surged within you. You turned, ready to flee, but shadows darted towards you, closing in. The grotesque faces of your friends contorted in anguish, the darkness behind them full of malice. "Choose," the creature sang, the shadows swelling with a life of their own. You felt a pull toward the clearing's edge, where a faint light glimmered. Was it hope or an escape? In that fleeting moment, everything hinged on your next choice. But was life without Lila worth living? And could you bear the weight of their loss? Or would you dive into the dark abyss with them? With darkness swirling closer, you grabbed the flashlight, trembling yet resolute. You had to make a decision. As you sprinted towards the light, a scream echoed behind you, unraveling the fragile threads of your resolve. What awaited you at the end of this twisted path? Would you claim your friends, or become just another shadow lurking in the woods? You accelerated toward the glimmer, heart pounding in sync with your footsteps. The light beckoned like a beacon, but as the shadows moved closer, gripping at your heels, that shining hope felt like a cruel mirage. You glanced back, adrenaline surging, and the sight nearly stopped you cold. The grotesque figures twisted and contorted, mouths wide in eternal screams. Their limbs elongated, stretching in otherworldly angles that mocked any sense of humanity. "Help us." Their voices were a cacophony, a blend of anguish and despair that clawed at your mind. It was as if every ounce of their suffering lanced into your soul. "Lila," you shouted, your voice barely making it through the knot in your throat. "I want to leave you." But in that instant, all hope wavering, presented a stark reality. She wasn't the girl you'd known. This was something worse, a hollow shell haunted by shadows. "Join us," she insisted again, her voice trembling, merging with the eerie calls of your friends. It filled the air with a sinister melody. "You can be free here." "Free?" You nearly laughed, bitter and disbelieving. "This isn't freedom. It's a trap." Without thinking, you charged toward the light. It flickered and pulsated as if breathing, promising sanctuary, yet carrying an unsettling intensity. The shadows lunged forward, reaching out with skeletal hands that glimmered under the pale moon. The weight of their gaze, their need, pulled at you like gravity. Your thoughts flashed to your past, the moments you shared, the laughter, the light. But as the dark clawed ever closer, you acknowledged the truth. Not every bond can survive the depths of despair. You plunged into the light, and the world around you transformed. The shadows sucked back, recoiling from the radiance as though scorched. A wave of warmth enveloped you, and for a breath, you felt a sense of freedom, an exhilarating relief. But it fizzled when the brightness coiled like smoke and stopped at the edges of the clearing, forming a wall that kept the darkness at bay. "Stand here," a voice beckoned from the luminous haze. A figure emerged misty and gauzy, like an apparition from another world. Its features were too blurred to recognize, but it carried a sense of familiarity that chilled you. Who are you? You managed, breathless, peering closer. Your heart raced with an old fear, one that had kept you up long after campfires flickered out and stars blinked shut. I'm a friend, it assured, calm and soothing. But your friends, they need you. You must save them. Save them? You recoiled, the absurdity striking like a slap. They're lost. How can I help not become lost, too? The figure's presence shifted, rippling like water, its urgency palpable. You must face the truth, their suffering is bound to your own. Only by confronting the shadows within can you rescue them. A sense of dread washed over you, mixing with the warmth around your body. Could you withstand what it might take? The cost? You glanced back toward the swirling shadows just past the light's edge. Their cry for help grew louder, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. But could you leave them to their fate? With a deep breath, courage ignited inside you. Then I have to go back. I can't let them suffer alone. Be warned. The journey will not be easy. The shadows are relentless, the figure warned, dimming slightly. Relentless, you echoed, steeling yourself. But they are my friends. I want to abandon them. With heart pounding, you stepped back toward the edge of the light, the darkness swirling hungrily at your feet. The moment was here, and so was the weight of the truth. You had to face what was hidden in the depths, their agony, your legacy, and the choices that would determine whether you would return or dissolve into the shadows forever. As you crossed the threshold, the shadow figures shifted again, their eyes locking onto yours, glinting with an unusual hope. The hollowed howls turned into whispers, a symphony of haunting pleas that renewed your resolve. What horrors lurked just beyond your vision? What truths awaited you in the dark? You plunged in, racing against time and the encroaching fog, ready to confront the grotesque reality of what remained of your friends and find out if you too would become a shadow in the woods. The moment you stepped into the dark, the air thickened like molasses around you. Shadows danced in your periphery, twisting into disturbing shapes that shifted and flickered with your every heartbeat. Your heart raced, pounding louder than the whispers echoing in the pit of your stomach. The voices wrapped around you, sweet yet sharp, like thorns masquerading as flowers. Help us, they coaxed, each word pulling you deeper into despair. Lila's face flashed before your eyes, unrecognizable yet achingly familiar. Lila, you cried out again, desperate for a glimpse of her old self. Where are you? Suddenly, the ground beneath you shifted, the soft earth giving way to something colder, more unyielding. You stumbled, catching your balance as tendrils of darkness reached up, as if trying to pull you down. Panic surged through you. You couldn't succumb to the darkness. Not now. Then, a flicker of movement caught your eye. A shadow detached from the mass, a familiar shape, warped yet unmistakable. It was Jason. You remembered his laughter, the way his eyes sparkled around the campfire. But now, they were sunken, hollowed out. Please, don't go back, he rasped, his voice dragging like a weight. We can't escape. We're beyond saving. Every word sliced through you. Despair seeped into your bones. What happened to you? We can fight this together. You could almost feel the warmth of the campfire surrounding you again. Those moments before this nightmare twisted everything. Together? He repeated, a laugh that held no joy bubbling up from the depths. You have no idea what lies ahead. The truth will shatter you. Your breath hitched. You tried to block the fear clawing at your heart. What truth? The shadows began to swirl again, and the faces of your friends materialized, each one twisted in agony. They were no longer with you, each a haunting reflection of what they had endured here. We're the price you must pay, Lila's voice echoed softly among the others, laced with sorrow. You were meant to save us, remember? But the cost is terrible. The weight of their sorrow pressed against your chest, choking off your air. You felt the urge to look away, but you couldn't. You had to confront this darkness, to thaw the ice it gripped around their souls. Enough, you shouted, the words bursting forth with defiance. I want to surrender to your despair. I refuse to be another shadow in this cursed place. As if in response, the air shimmered, and the shadows roared, a chorus of howls that echoed through the trees like a tempest. The ground shook beneath your feet, and the faces of your friends twisted in agony, urging you to give in. You felt the pressure of their lives weighing heavy on your conscience. Their pain was your pain. Every wretched scream resonated within you. But amid that chaos, a flicker of light caught your eye, an elusive glimmer that twisted and danced beyond the horde. It felt like hope, fraying yet persistent. You must face your truth. The figure shouted, its voice a lifeline cutting through the howling void. Summoning every ounce of courage, you pushed past the noise, stumbling toward that tiny beacon. The shadows clawed at you, their fingers icy against your skin. But you pressed onward, determination igniting your spirit. As you reached the light, a cacophony erupted behind you. Lights surged and shadows writhed, battling for your soul. The closer you got, the more intense the pull became. It wasn't freedom, it was a test. A reckoning that would either free your friends or bind you to their eternal torment. And as the light began to wrap around you, you could sense it. The truth was near, blinding and excruciating. But could you accept it? Could you face the deep, dark recesses that you had buried away, the secrets that tied you all together in this web of shadows? What kind of monster lurked beneath the truth, waiting to extend its claws once you breached the surface? This was only the beginning of your true fight. The moment you crossed into the light, it enveloped you like a warm embrace, smothering the screams from the shadows behind. The brilliant glow distorted the darkness, revealing flickers of color red, green, and blue, remnants of life and hope amidst the suffocating despair. It was a stark contrast to the cold grasp of the shadows, and for a heartbeat, you felt buoyant, as if you could float away from all the pain. But that light also brought clarity. You could see the truth, raw and unfiltered. As it washed over you, memories burst forth like shards of glass. Laughter around campfires, shared stories, and plans for the future. And then, the darker memories, moments of betrayal, secrets left unspoken, and guilt festering like an open wound. Face your truth, Kai, a voice murmured softly, reassuring yet urgent. It felt oddly familiar, almost like a memory, but sharper, cutting through the haze of fear that clouded your mind. Suddenly, before you, shapes began to emerge from the swirling light. They looked like your friends, their faces twisted in pain and regret, shadows clinging to them like a shroud, changing them into something almost unrecognizable. Lila stepped forward, her once bright eyes now glowing dimly, though you still yearned for the familiar spark that used to light her up. You have to understand, Kai, she began, her voice layered with sorrow. We made mistakes. Forgive us, she reached out, that glimmer of recognition almost pulling you in. But you could see it, the shadows buried deep within her, clawing at her heart. They were consuming her. Forgive you? You echoed, wrestling with the tumult within. You don't understand. You're not just lost, you could be freed. We can fight against this together. There was desperation in your voice, a longing to return to before the warmth of friends, the laughter that echoed through the woods. But the light dimmed slightly, a wavering candle in the face of a storm. The shadows hissed in defiance, swirling around your friends like a predator stalking its prey. Their faces twisted, and you heard the familiar voices mixed with hollow whispers. No one escapes unscathed, Kai. You think you can save us? We're beyond saving, Jason's voice echoed, sending chills rippling through you as he stepped closer, the shadows taking chunks of his features, turning him into something wretched. It made you sick. Only darkness will remain, Lila's voice quivered with finality, but the flicker of hope hadn't extinguished. The choice must come from you. What choice? You demanded, heart pounding as shadows clawed closer. What do you mean? This forest feeds on despair, Lila stated, voice resonating through the air like a soft bell, despite the torment. To truly save us, you have to embrace the darkness and confront it head-on. Accept the pain, your pain, and then you can break the cycle. In that moment, realization washed over you, a light amid the din. It wasn't just your friend's struggles. It was your burden too, the guilt, the fears, and the betrayals you had tried to sweep under the rug. The shadows laughed and leered, sensing your hesitation. Do it, they roared, as if encouraging in a twisted way, amplifying the dread that threatened to grasp hold of your heart. You took a deep breath, pushing past the swirling shadows closing in on your chest, filling your mind with suffocating despair. I want to let you win, gathering all the strength you could muster. You faced your friends, your true friends who remained ensnared in darkness. Fighting against the horror, you freed your heart of all the pent-up fears. I'm here. I'm ready to face whatever lies ahead for you all. And suddenly, everything jolted. The shadows shrieked, vibrating as though they couldn't stand the light of hope rising among the darkness. The air crackled with energy, swirling into a cyclone as you embraced the truth within. Chains of despair and guilt snapped away, freeing your spirit, a sense of weight lifting from your chest. The shadows faltered. One by one, your friends broke through the veil of darkness enshrouding them, eyes flickering back to life. Kai, Lila whispered, the familiar warmth emerging as she reached out, fingers intertwining with you. Jason and the others joined her, a chorus of solidarity and strength. Together, the light battled against the dark, pulsing and glowing with energy. You realized now that darkness can't exist in the face of pure hope. Follow me, you shouted, your voice ringing with newfound courage as you led the way. The light flared brightly, illuminating the woods as you and your friends broke free from the grasp and chance of despair, weaving through the trees, until behind you, the shadows wailed in anger. The forest trembled, its hold slipping as you ran together toward the clearing that promised freedom, a chance to reclaim who you truly were. Emerging into the moonlight, breathtaking and liberating, the last bags of darkness slipped away, replaced by the colors of gratitude and love, shared friendship regained, laughter intertwining once more. As the shadows receded behind you, they faded to nothingness, leaving no trace of the horrors that had once consumed your lives. Together, you stood breathless, but hold in that victory. The darkness was merely a chapter closed. You all raised your eyes to the brilliant stars above, knowing that nightmares might always lurk in the shadows, but friendship could guide you home. This was where the journey ended, full circle. Now, while survival was certain, it was only together that true healing could begin. And as the cool night air enfolded you, you couldn't shake the softness of hope blooming anew, fierce like fireflies in the dark. But this journey isn't over. You've just begun a brighter one. Don't wait. You need to subscribe now so you won't miss other thrilling stories like this one. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what happens next. And don't wait even one more second. Share this story with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support matters. Together, we'll journey through even more mysteries. Together.